Hi everyone, I'm back here in the barn in Rhode Island. It's such a beautiful time of year. It's starting to get warm, the sun is shining, the cherry trees are in bloom. And yesterday I did something that I do maybe twice a year. I actually realized that I had not done it at all in 2024, so it was time to do it again. It is a kind of reset for me. And it's when I spend 24 hours with my phone and my laptop turned off completely. And because they're turned off, I can't use them. I don't use them. So I wanted to share this because I think it's such a valuable thing to do. It's kind of a luxury. I view it, rather than viewing it as a restriction, like cutting myself off from it, I view it as a kind of vacation. And I thought that this is such a wonderful thing to share because it's something that you can do without having to spend any money. Now, what I do, it's 36 hours. So it's not just 24 hours. It's really 36 hours, and I do this as a 36-hour thing because I want to be able to experience a full day, like a complete day and night where there's no phone and there's no computer. So 2 nights ago, so let's just say hypothetically if you were doing this, when you go to bed, you turn off your phone, you turn off your computer, you actually turn them off. And then you wake up in the morning kind of naturally. So if you have your alarm on your phone, you don't have an alarm. Or if you have a manual alarm clock and you need to get up, you use that. You wake up and then you spend your whole day just without your phone and your laptop. And you go to bed that night, again, you haven't looked at anything, and you fall asleep. And when you wake up the next morning, that's when it's over. So that's about 36 hours. It's very interesting to observe what happens. What happens to your senses and also how you feel. I find the biggest thing about doing this is time slows down in a very good way. That day feels 3 times as long as it normally does. And that might sound like a bad thing for some people, but for the people that feel like they don't have enough time to do things, it is a wonderful thing. I feel like that happens because you're so present. And even if you're not completely present in a task, your mind is left to wander on its own without the interference of what I call other people's thoughts. When you look at your phone, when you open up your computer, messages come in, there's like news headlines that even if you're trying to avoid the news, you go into log into your email or whatever, and there's news headlines. So you're kind of constantly bombarded with other people's thoughts and other people's ideas. And when you curate your day so that you're restricted from all of that, you're kind of free to allow your own mind to sit with itself or with the actual people that you're around. And this is a luxury. It's a luxury because we've come to rely on our phones and technology so much that really we need it. But if you can step away from it for 36 hours, it feels like kind of going back in time. I feel very lucky to have been born in a time when we did not have cell phones, when if someone was calling us, they had to call the landline. And I think about the wonderful part of that. So this is what this restriction does. So yesterday, the day before, I turned the phone off at night and the computer. I went to bed. I woke up in the morning and I was here in Rhode Island. And what I did yesterday is I started making candles. So I was in the barn. I have CDs in the barn. So I listened to the Carter Family while I was making candles. My brave boy, he sleeps in his faded coat of blue. And then I put on other things like I mean, it was a whole. It was like the Rajiv Surendra top 100 hits. It went from the Carter Family to MS Subbulakshmi. Jagada Nandaka Karaka Jagada Nandaka. I just had a blast in here, jamming to my music and making candles. And then in the afternoon, it was so warm. It was like 79 degrees, I think. So I got a bike and I rode to the ocean, and no one was at the beach. Like, not one person was at the beach. I put my swim trunks on just in case. And because it was so warm, I jumped into the freezing cold Atlantic and had like what I feel like a baptism, my first dunk in the Atlantic for the year. And it was freezing, and then I walked like for 20 minutes along the beach in the sun, and I dried off and got warm again. Then I rode home. I rode back here, and I had passed a field that is planted with corn every year. And it's in a beautiful spot. I'm always looking at this field when we pass by and thinking, what a gorgeous place that this field is. So currently the field has been plowed. I don't know if it's been planted, but it's been plowed. And as I was passing it on my bike, I thought, that this is so beautiful. I would love to come back and paint it. So that's what I did. I gathered I have like a John Singer Sargent painting, outdoor plein air painting kit that I've assembled. It's all like antique stuff that I found at John Darien. Mainly, the main thing is a white painting umbrella and a stool. Let me get them and show them to you. So this beautiful thing, this umbrella is a white cotton canvas umbrella, and it has to be white so that when the light shines through it, there's no color to affect the paper or the palette, so you can actually accurately see the colors that you're painting. Come on. Look at this thing. It's so beautiful. So I had this set up behind me so that the sun, it was over like this because it was noon, so that the sun was not glaringly shining on my paper and my palette. And I sat out there in the cornfield for about 2 hours maybe, and I painted, and it was heavenly. I mean, the painting is not great. There's the painting. I was fuss potting a little. It was hard. It was very hard. The main thing was perspective that I was focusing on, and then so I did that. I felt like I got it, and then when I got to the actual painting of soil, I was like, I don't know how to do this. So I tried. It's about trying and working on it. So there were moments where my instinct was to get my phone throughout the day. And this is part of what's very interesting and just kind of amusing. So when I went to the ocean and jumped in and came out, I wanted to text Guy Wolf because I was with them just a few days ago, and it was so hot, and I kept saying, it's a swim day, it's a swim day, I wish I could go swimming. And finally, when I got in the ocean, I thought I would just text Guy and say I just jumped into the Atlantic Ocean. But I had no phone, so I couldn't, so I didn't. There were moments while watercolor painting where I felt like taking a picture, and I'm not a huge picture taker. That's not something I'm always doing. I actually hate pulling my phone out. But there was a moment where I was like, this is so beautiful. I should take a picture. Well, I don't have my phone, so I'm not going to take a picture. I'm going to take a picture in my head. And that's something that I'm regularly doing, telling myself to not pull my phone out and to really look and sort of capture the image in my memory. There was a moment while I was melting my beeswax for the candles when I was trying to remember the melting point of beeswax, and I recalled it being 145 to 149 or 150 degrees. And that was kind of, I got a thermometer too, so my plan was to make the candles and really keep the thermometer in the beeswax, but I couldn't remember the melting point, and I just thought, well, I'm gonna say 145 to 150. I don't have my phone, is how I treated this. At the very end of the day, like we had made dinner, eaten dinner, and then it was time to practice harp, and I washed my hands, and as I was walking to the harp, I realized, oh, the tuner for my harp, like to tune all the strings, is on my phone. It's an app. And now what do I do? So I just I had no tuner. I have no other tuner than the tuner on my phone. So I tuned by ear as best as I could. I started sort of at middle C. I plucked it and compared it to 2 other Cs and kind of gauged. And when I had middle C where I thought it was, I used that as my reference point to tune all the other strings. And I practiced and it sounded fine. Nothing was glaringly out of tune. And then I went to bed, and this morning I turned my phone on and there were a bunch of messages from people. There wasn't anything drastic or life-altering, but that was the 36 hours. So I highly recommend doing this. I really think this is something that people should do if they can. Now, many people will have reasons why they can't, or they come up with excuses of why they can't. I'm going to quote my mom. Don't make excuses, child. You can always find reasons why you shouldn't do something, and that's fine. So I'm just going to say, if you have reasons why you can't do this, you don't need to share them in the comment section. That's fine. But I would like to reserve the comment section for people that try this. I would love all of you who watch this video, or as many as possible, to try this out 36 hours without your phone, and then to come back to this video and share what you experienced in the comment section. Maybe it's negative. It might not be positive for everybody. Maybe your phone and your computer are things that you really like, are your comfort tools, and without them you don't feel comfortable, and that's understandable and that's fine. I do think though there is so much to be gained from not having this technology with us, and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone to spend more time with your own mind and actually with the people around you, looking at them, smiling at them, really listening to them without any distractions. You know, you're so common now, it's so commonplace to be having a conversation with a person and then something buzzes or something dings and they just glance over at it. There was a time, there's actually a book, a big thick book by Emily Post, a time in a book that would say that is very impolite. That is just not what you do when you're talking to somebody. You don't look at a message. You wouldn't open a letter while talking to somebody and go on. So I'm old school. That's sort of the etiquette that I believe in, and it's something that I feel like is so dated because it's normal and it's fine now to be talking to someone and for them to just glance at their phone. Well, when your phone is turned off, this is not possible. So if it's awkward and it's weird for you, I would say that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And if you're able to do this more than once a year, maybe twice a year or 3 times a year, as I said, treat it as a vacation. Treat it as a little like, I'm gonna leave the world as I know it for 36 hours, and I'm gonna retreat to a place that is slower, quieter, nicer. I feel like it's nicer. I think most of you will agree. And it's just a fascinating thing to kind of impose on yourself. A couple of my friends do this, and they love it. So today I'm back. Today I'm back with the technology a little bit. I mean, whenever I'm here in Rhode Island, I leave the phone and the computer in the house while I'm in the barn or while I'm riding around. Sometimes I take it to the beach, but I was just reminded of how long it's been since I've done this yesterday and the day before, and I thought I'm going to do this again. Now, for a lot of people, it's kind of impossible to do during the week because they go to work and they need these devices. So ideally, I think the best time to do this for people that are like working an office job or commuting to work is Friday night. And really, you know, like there are things like, for example, on my phone, I have the app to my gym, and the only way to kind of get into the gym is to open up my phone and to have them scan the barcode. Well, there have been times when I've forgotten my phone at home. Like I just happened to not put it in my bag, and I get to the gym and I'm like, oh, I don't have my phone. So I tell them, they look my name up, and then they let me through because I have ID. So that is possible. It is possible to do those things without your phone. And I would encourage you, if you are having these things pop up in your head of why you can't completely turn your phone off, you have to completely turn it off. This is not a let me just set it aside and not look at it and try that. That is not what this is. If you're going to do this fully and do this properly. This is turning it off, because when you actually turn the computer off, turn the laptop off, turn the phone off, the fact that it's turned off, it does something to your mind. It just really, it makes it so much more less, it makes it so much less of a temptation to go and look at it, because you'd have to invest more. You'd have to actually turn it on to look at it. So things like these apps that you're using regularly for your routine everyday life, there are ways around them. So if you come home from work, turn your phone off, turn your laptop off Friday night before you go to bed, you wake up Saturday morning. Saturday is the day that you are without these things. Yesterday, also I had to drive to the grocery store, and there was a moment where I thought, is this irresponsible, because I'm using my friend's car, to leave the house without my phone? So it was not turned on. I did put it in my bag, just in case. And I went to the grocery store, but I didn't need to turn it on. So you can do that. You can go about your Saturday, maybe plan things like a picnic or going to a museum, and you don't have your phone, so you can't take pictures. So you end up actually really looking. That's the wonderful thing about this, is I think many people might not even realize how much just their eyes are focused on something else, not like what's immediately around them for the span of 24 hours. And your Saturday can be that day where it's quieter, slower, come home, or you stay at home all day, you're doing things in the yard, around the house, then you go to bed Saturday night, and Sunday morning you turn your phone on. Try it out. Let me know what happens. Let me know how you feel. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. I think it's a wonderful thing.